welcome to Shell's Pearls of Wisdom. I am here with the beautiful Jacqueline, aka
Jacqueline Dunn.
It's nice to see you again, Honey Bunch. I met Jacqueline this year in February 2020 at Miss Autorama in Detroit, Michigan. And the rest is history from there. I can tell you from just the small interaction that we did get to have that day. She is a beautiful soul. She not only helped crown the next Autorama for that year, but she also gave some really good advice to us, kind of gave us a little bit more of encouragement about, what they were looking for and the fact that, we did so well. It just kind of made me really more confident in doing more, even more contests and putting myself out there and not being so afraid the next time. So I really do appreciate that. Once again, that's part of the pinup community. Everybody's so loving and helpful and willing to give you that advice, that tip, that whatever, so that you do not feel like just because you did not win or just because you didn't place, that is not something that you should give up on. You should try next time and try next time, and that next time might be that one time where you get to make it all the way to the end. So
well, you were real close this year. I mean, nice.
I wasn't gonna say that part, but thank you. But no, I just she took me around, she showed me around, and I just felt really connected in the sense that she didn't have to take the extra time to do all of that, and I just felt I felt really good about it because I knew she didn't have to, and she did. So thank you very much for that.
Oh, you're very welcome. Like I said, I could just feel the genuine oozing from you. And so often in the pinup community, we, give ourselves a name, but a lot of people lose themselves to that character. So that was why I really wanted to tell you, just don't lose your essence of who you are, because, it just glows. And that's what helping the other judges love, is that you just radiated genuine.
I think, well, I try not to be fake. My mama always told me that nobody likes someone who plays the part. So she's always be the part, don't play the part. And I was like,
there you go.
I get it. So she should be happy because she actually told me that from a little bitty girl. So, so talking about little bitty girls, you've been in this kind of pageantry world for quite some time. You told me even when you were younger, you have some really cute pictures of kind of
the toddlers and tiara stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
my mom get me some of those pictures too.
Yeah. I'm definitely gonna have my mom dig some of those out. I'm sure she has one somewhere. That was more whenever I was really little, that was totally my mom's thing. It was fun for her, not so much fun for me. It was a lot of work for me. I was like, this is not fun. Can I just go flip on a balance beam somewhere? So luckily though, I was really fortunate not to have a stage mom. So you're not having fun with this and you want to do gymnastics? Okay, go do gymnastics.
Awesome. So you did gymnastics too?
Yeah, I did that from the time I was 6 until I was 12.
Oh, wow. 12. You still know some of your old moves?
Yeah, I can still do round-offs. I could, I don't think I should do a back handspring after this fusion, but yeah, we'll leave that to the professionals.
All right, the next time I see you, I might have to do a little round-off cartwheel because I still do some gymnastics too.
Yeah. My girls have both been given thorough instructions. I still spot for back and kick-overs and all that good.
Yeah, I remember those days. Those are actually really fun memories for me. So
yeah.
So you kind of just to kind of help with Jacqueline's story along, she did tell me that growing up she had a pretty typical two-parent home. She was pretty she used the word grew up privileged, but after talking to her a little bit more, she kind of shared some other stuff, which even though she might have grew up privileged, she still had some obstacles in her upbringing. If you could just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so great reminder that money doesn't buy happiness. So I grew up, we had the pool, we had the 6 acres, go-karts to play on, all that kind of stuff. And I think to most of the world, would look like your typical American dream family. And whenever you actually open up the doors, though, there was a little bit darker truth that was lying there. and literally lying. My dad was an alcoholic who was bipolar, and whenever they put him on Prozac, it caused him to have really, really, really insane rage. And he would have these blackout episodes when he would drink where he would beat my mom, pull out guns, do all kinds of stuff that was completely outside of his normal character. He was like my best friend when he was sober. And then whenever he picked up the bottle, it was like Jekyll to Hyde. I mean, so it was a really hard thing growing up, understanding the duality of people, that someone that you loved could change and be so different or seem so different, but they both live and they really are both that same person. So that was a struggle growing up with that. And then when I was 12, he actually burned the house down in a fit of drunken rage because my mom said that she was going to leave him. And not a million times though.
I mean, you told me about the house burning down. I did not know that it was an accident. I assumed for some reason that it was an accident because that happens. You do something burning and I didn't know that it was.
He was working on an ultralight inside. So he tried to say that it was an accident because he was working on an ultralight inside, but he also left voice recordings on my uncle's answering machine that was the assistant chief of the volunteer fire department for our town, that he was going to do it. So they already had fire trucks waiting at the end of our street. They were just waiting for the smoke to be visible. So some of the stuff was, I mean, because of that and his threats though, like they were able to salvage some of like our baby pictures, our family Bible, a few things. So it was, I guess, find the blessing in the messin', right? So rather than the whole house burning to the ground, there were some things that were salvageable. And at that time, I feel like I was kind of materialistic too, because that's the way that I grew up. I had 160 Barbies. I had a 5-foot tall custom wood Barbie house with decked out furniture and a regular, the small Barbie house that most people had. That was my office building, right? Barbie went to work.
Well, at least Barbie had a job.
Jobs. So it was just like I said, whenever you go from that, you have everything, or it feels like you have everything, to seeing everything that you own literally go up in smoke.
Oh my God.
I think what it taught me was to be a survivor, because in most people they think they need all this stuff, and right. Stuff that makes us who we are, and it builds our ego and it's not stuff. It's, if you allow yourself to be shackled by that, then you're never really going to be happy, because you're always going to be searching for the next thing. So a lot of people would say that was the biggest tragedy in my life, but I feel like that's what made me free, right? So you can either focus on the negative or you can focus on the positive. And I chose to focus on being free and being freed from all these shackles that binded me, all this stuff. And I learned that at that point, we had great friends, we had great family, we survived, we made it through. And my mom didn't just survive, she thrived. So I think that instead of that being the thing that broke me, because a lot of people wouldn't have gotten back up.
Yeah.
Just figured out I had to find the right glue. Right?
Yeah. So just to kind of like ask a question that maybe some of the people out there would have, while you're 12 years old and you're witnessing this happen, because it's in your face, there's nothing that you can really hide from, it's there. Did your mom just pack you up and move on with her life, and you guys just
there wasn't anything to even pack?
Okay.
So at that time, they were honest with me. They told me about what my dad had done, because I was going to find out anyways.
Right.
And they wanted to talk to me, and I needed a day. Like, I told him I was afraid to talk to him because I was afraid of the things that could come out of my mouth that I would regret saying, that he would regret hearing, that I just needed a day before I could vocalize how I felt. So
first of all, for you to be 12 and even have the maturity level to even comprehend that you don't want to say something that you'll regret, because a lot of us, even as adults, can't handle that. it's kind of just shows that's a testament of who you were as a character before this, because a lot of people would have just.
I mean, whenever, I hate to say it this way, but whenever you're forced to be grown up, like, you just do. Like, there's not a choice in the matter. It wasn't like, I guess I don't feel like I was some great inspired soul. It was just that I knew that he was already regretful for what he had done. I didn't want the thing that I said to be what pushed him over the edge, to not be able to rebuild himself.
Yeah.
So I think I was mature, not because I wanted to be, because I had to be.
Yeah.
So, you know,
and just for the people out there, I know that you have brothers and sisters that are in your life. Can you just let us know, like, how many brothers and sisters do you have?
Yes. So I have an older half brother, and we went through, we went through hell. Like, he was my battle buddy, right? And then I have 4 stepsisters that came after all of that happened. And actually, my 2 younger stepsisters are twins, and they're only a few months younger than me. So it was really cool, because not only did I get like stepsisters, but I also got a couple best friends out of the deal.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then tell me, like you said that your brother's your battle buddy. Are you guys still close to this day?
Not as close as I would like for us to be.
Yeah.
Well,
there's never too late.
Yeah. It because I had him as the older, more mature person to kind of help guide me through that and let me know that what was happening wasn't my fault, right? That was the most important thing that any child in any of those situations should hear, is that it's not your fault.
Not your fault.
You're not the reason that they behave this way. But you are responsible for how you respond to it. And that was something else that he told me. You know, he wasn't just going to let me wallow around in pity. That, you know, that, yeah, bad stuff happens to us, but think about it. We were born in America, where we have enough food to eat. We weren't born in a war-torn country where we have to worry about a bomb dropping on our house and having nothing, you know.
Yeah.
He definitely kept things in perspective. So I'm grateful. I feel like I'm able to be as strong as I am now, because I had him to lean on. I just wish that he would have had somebody so that he could have that strength now too.
Yeah. It's hard to be the first one that comes into the situation, because it's a lot of pressure, especially when you are a man too, because now you're almost like taking on like the father figure role too, not just a brother. He has to be kind of like, yeah. So you're 12, you go through this tragedy, which I know now you've grown from it, but at the time you're 12, so this is just, you know, devastating. And you said that how important family was at that time, and knowing who your real friends are and the people that are really going to stand in your corner. You move on to start telling me about a little bit about the age of 13 is when you discovered, because you had to kind of start from nothing.
Yeah. So instead of getting to shop at the name brand stores as much and stuff as and to be honest with you, I mean, a lot of it, my mom could have afforded it. It was just, I didn't want to be like everybody else too. You know, that was part of it too. So I started going to thrift stores, and my grandma loved thrifting. So it was just something fun to do with her too.
Mm-hmm.
But we would find these outfits, and she used to love to try to find and like recreate outfits from when she was young.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she had all these fabulous shoes. I remember even as a little tiny thing, all of her fabulous shoes from the 50s and 60s. I swear she must have kept every pair of shoes she ever owned. They all still look brand new. So I just absolutely loved the swing dresses. And as I got a little bit older, like whenever I was like 16-ish, I would love to find the big like 70s furry like rocker coats that look like the Kate Hudson and Almost Famous, right?
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. And that was not what was cool at the time. Like,
I know, we were not in that time frame, nope.
Yeah, they're like, what is this girl wearing? Like,
You
But
ever feel like that you didn't fit in because you wanted this unique style, or?
um, I think it was just I wanted to be who I was, and I didn't care if that was what was cool, right? So
Awesome.
other friends who I think they were just as quirky and just as fun. And we used to actually put together like fashion shows in my friend's living room, and we would invite our parents and they would film it. And
That's awesome. I always wanted girlfriends to do that with. None of my friends would have ever done anything. They would have told me I was lame. They would have been
yeah,
like, "What?"
I might be able to ask my friend Jessica Ball, who she actually one of my best friends from growing up in Arkansas, lives in Ann Arbor, 45 minutes away from here. So I still get to see her, which is pretty wild that two Arkansas girls wound up in Michigan. So I'm going to see though if she can reach out to our old friend and see if she has any of the footage or pictures.
That would be awesome. Forget that. Don't even try to get old. Just recreate it today. Like get together and be like, we're gonna have an old fashioned back in the day get together. We put on a fashion show. We drink now because now we're old enough to drink, and we're just.
Well, and now we would have to do it on Zoom because, everybody's so far away.
No.
And yeah, so we've got some of us in Arkansas, some of us in Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan's on lockdown right now too. So
We are too.
yeah,
I get
it's
it.
crazy. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome that you at least had some friends that were, kind of like the Twisted Sisters together, so that you
Oh
didn't.
yeah, yeah. We made really cheesy horror flick called it was like Who's Next, I believe.
Are
Yeah.
you serious? Okay.
Yeah, with a pizza box. I remember there's a pizza box that opened up for the film title. Yeah, it was ridiculous. But we were out of our time before there was a TikTok or Facebook or MySpace. It was OG.
You didn't have that yet. Imagine the stuff that you would have did if you had all that stuff now.
Oh
You could
gosh.
be like the next Steven Spielberg for all you know. Oh wow, that is awesome. So I know you were talking about like you fell in love with the thrift store, and like that was something that you got to do with your grandma, and that's always like fun times because those are memories that you'll never like ever like lose no matter what. But you also kind of a little birdie also told me a little bit about a fair queen.
Oh yeah.
What is that?
Again, I may have mentioned Arkansas, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, did the Fair Queen pageant because I was like, I did them as a kid, but I never like did them for myself. So I was like, okay, I think this would be fun. So I did one. I didn't do very well, honestly. I was just like, oh my gosh. I had one friend that I did it with though, Morgan. And so we were able to ride around and do the parade and like smile and wave in the convertible. So that was super fun. I mean,
Yeah.
experience.
So why and then you had another I'm sorry, I'm only laughing because I know what happened. So you had another pageant that you did when you were 15. Let's hear about that.
So whenever I was a senior in high school, I decided I would do the pageant for my high school. Some friends talked me into it. And I was not sure what I wanted to do for the talent. Everybody was doing similar stuff, singing, dancing, or whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm going to bring a flag in here, and this is going to be big, and it's going to make, all kinds of crazy big motions on the stage, but it'll be beautiful. And so I went to do what's called a helicopter toss, and it went up, and it should have been in my hands, and it wasn't in my hands, and then I looked up, and it smacked me right in the face. So fun fact, those poles are weighted, so it hit me like a boxer, man. So I took a 1, and then I fell backwards, knocked me out cold, and then I bounced off the stage. So I did a 1, 2, full concussion, woke up, they were asking me about what day it was. I lost a couple days. Could not for the life of me remember the opening sequence they had just taught me. So I had to go back early and learn that. So it was fun times. Did not win that, but I did have a giant goose egg on my forehead. So I think that might have had something to do with it. Also the fact that it was Sarah French who won. And let me say, this girl went on to do like Miss Arkansas, Miss Missouri. She's a newscaster. She was in Boston market or something crazy. I think she's down south now though. So yeah, a proper winner to take the crown. definitely not somebody I'm sad to lose to.
So, I mean, anybody out there that's ever nervous about competing and you just don't do that well, think about this. You did not get a concussion.
I knocked myself out, and then I went back and got on that stage. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, you know.
Luckily, it was a dress rehearsal. Oh my gosh, can you imagine if that happened during the real pageant?
Oh, that was okay. I thought that was actually at the actual.
Luckily, dress rehearsal.
Okay, good, because I was just like, someone got this on tape. Someone witnessed.
It was I had the goose egg from the start of the pageant, so.
Oh no, so you had to rock that with it. Did you do like the comb over, like the bangs or something?
Yeah, you know what? I don't. I think it was like I had plans on hair back, and I think that's what they did. I don't even remember what my hair was like for that. That's honestly, I just remember I felt like Sloth from the Goonies. That's all.
You know what? But that's a warrior. Somebody be like, I just knocked myself cold clocked out, and I'm still gonna get out here and still.
Okay, so the lady putting on the pageant, I loved Miss Owen. She's still one of my favorite teachers. So like, I just didn't want to let her down. Not only not want to give up on something I wanted to do, I was like, she has this blacked out for so many girls. I don't want to have to change choreography. I will muster through this for her. So.
Oh, well, you know, the show must go on. You live by that. So you actually live by that every day of your life. The show must go on. So that's kind of like your motto. So then she went on to graduate high school. She had a pretty normal high school. She did say that she was in the band and things of that nature. And she was someone who stood up for her fellow man, your peers. If somebody was being picked on, or
I was a nerd, man. I was a nerd, but I was a nerd that was not afraid to take a punch.
Yeah, and you know what? Those are the scariest people to go against the bully, because the bullies do not like someone that stands up to them. As soon as you can stand up to them, you can pretty much shut them down. So good for you. Good for you. And then you graduated, and then you went on to what did you do after you graduated?
Of course. I signed up. I actually was in the delayed enlistment program starting in January. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do Air Force or Navy, so I took the D Lab, which was for language, and tested off the chart. So they told me I could pick any language I wanted. So I chose Air Force and to go in for an Arabic language to do flying cryptological linguist. My other option was I considered doing the nuclear program for the Navy, and my grandfather talked me out of it because we had a family member who had been on the Manhattan Project, and he didn't feel like we needed any more of that in our family. Felt like that was
I can understand.
Yeah, yeah.
So how was the Air Force? How long did you stay?
I didn't really. I made it to boot camp when I was there. Absolutely loving it. I passed out during a run. They put me on an EKG, said, oh no, we got to put you in medical hold real quick so we can run some more tests. One EKG, though, they knew that I had a heart failure. So they gave me a waiver for a knee surgery. They gave me a waiver for driving like an idiot, but they couldn't give me a waiver for the heart problem. So I went home after that. And what I learned from that experience was that no matter how much planning, preparation, and how much you want something, if the universe does not have that in store for you, it ain't happening. So you just gotta,
I'm glad that they found the heart murmur and all that before you did something that could have really been detrimental.
Yeah, so I guess their big concern was I wouldn't survive torture as well.
Exactly, because your heart needs to be strong for that.
Yeah, so doing what I did, I was going to be flying on basically a spy plane and intercepting radio transmissions, translating and decoding.
Yeah.
So that if our plane was taken down, torture was a very high likelihood for my job. So I couldn't stay.
Aww. But you know what? Like you said, everything happens for a reason. So
yeah, absolutely. I would not be in Michigan if I would stay in the military. So
So then you came out, just to kind of like help her with her story. She went through a few different avenues of
Yes.
career choices.
So basically, I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? And I didn't want to spend all this money on college until I had a plan of what I wanted to do with my life. So I was like,
Exactly.
I went to the Air Force with the hopes of going to law school. I was hoping to go to the academy after my first 6 years. So I was like, maybe I should just go be a lawyer. So Miss Owen, I discussed in the pageant, she was a mentor that I had from the time that I was in ninth grade. And I didn't know what to do, so I called her and then just started kind of talking through some things with her. And she said, well, you know, my husband owns a law firm if you want to go be the receptionist there. Okay. So I tried it out just to see if I even really liked the you know, law side of things. I saw a vase be thrown because someone thought that they were entitled to something that they didn't get an inheritance.
Yeah.
Corporate mergers are not always nice, or there's a lot of messy. People aren't happy. They don't want to see you. They're like, people just don't like attorneys. So I was like, this is awful, actually.
Nope.
I appreciate the opportunity, but this is not what I want to do with my life.
Right.
I love architecture. So my friend Sarah French, who was in the pageant, her dad was an architect, and he was an architect with Rico Harris, which was the Owens nephew. So went to work for them, absolutely loved it. Fun fact about being an architect.
I was going to say, but
You have to be able to sketch. My brother got all of the artistic ability for our family and maybe the surrounding three families. He's like an amazing artist. Me, yeah. You give me a straight line task, you better give me 2 pieces of tape with the ruler to hold it in place, because no. I can do lots of things, but draw is not one of them. So.
But that's okay, because once again, I think when we get to where you found your niche, you're way better at that.
Yes. So after I got done with the architecture, I went on to, I had honestly, before I went in the military, I had been into modeling for about 4 years. So I knew that was something I could fall back on. And I did Hawaiian Tropics, Caribbean Tan, shot for Normandy Monroe in Arkansas, did a lot down there. And then I realized that the market was just too small. So I had some friends up here, came, checked it out, met a boy. And then I did.
I love how she said that, met a boy.
Yeah. And so I did promotional modeling, print modeling, actually helped my ex's mom start a clothing line, ran a team of promotional models, used to MC bike nights, contests for Gibraltar, which was a large venue here. And they would do the bikini contests. And we actually had what were called Rebel Girl Contest, which was the name of his mom's clothing line. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
I was going to say, you had a fun 20s. Your 20s were a blast.
It was a fun 20s. They did some nerdy stuff too. Like there was an automotive engineering company that did chamber testing. They developed a really cool special camera that could handle extreme temperatures. And so I was a product specialist for that and got to see early 3D printers. And I'm aging myself now. Got to see some super cool stuff because, right, I'm still a nerd. Like,
yes. I mean, you're a beautiful nerd, but you're a nerd. It's okay. I embrace you, nerd sister.
Yeah.
But so I wanted to kind of like do a little bit of backtracking because your modeling takes you all the way to basically to your late 20s. Mm-hmm. But something did happen that was pretty significant in your personal life when you were 19, and when you share that with me, that almost brought me to tears because it was like, it's a big moment.
I know that so many people, whenever they have like a parent that is an alcoholic, that's just the experience that they have their whole life. My dad, I thought rock bottom for him was our house burning. That wasn't rock bottom for him. He kept drinking. My stepmom threatened to leave him several times. That wasn't rock bottom for him. When he actually hit rock bottom was when I had taken a guy that I was dating to meet him for the first time. And we were supposed to all go out on my dad's boat. And whenever I got there, he was super, I mean, just wasted on a floaty in the lake. And I tried to help him up into the boat just so he wouldn't drown and die. and his shoulder kind of popped weird, and he started swinging at me. And I called my stepmom, and I told her that he was in the boat, that I was done, and that I wasn't going to talk to him again until he was sober for 30 days. And he tried to call me, and I answered the phone, and I said, I'm not talking to you until you've been sober for 30 days. I'm sorry. I love you. I'm not enabling this. Click.
And just so you know, Jacqueline is a daddy's girl.
I am.
So
this
was not easy for her to do.
House, even with all of that stuff, even watching him be all of that, because I love the person who he was so much when he was sober, I somehow looked past all of the bad to love him. It just gets to a point where somebody's so toxic that I told him if he ever tried to swing on me, that would be it. Like, that's it. You're not going to touch me. I physically will not have that. And
yeah,
because if he hit me, I would love to sit here and say that I am above taking a swing back, but I knew that it would turn into a knockdown drag out brawl.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do that because I knew that we would never come back after that. So I told him though that that was it. So that was on a Saturday. He went to the doctor on Monday and was put on antabuse. I mean, he slipped up here and there, but for the most part, we got another 12 years with him without being an alcoholic and a drunk. I mean,
that's amazing. Not a lot of people have that story to tell, that specifically for them, this person changed their life.
Yeah.
And that's
It wasn't my mom. It wasn't my stepmom. It was losing me that would be rock bottom for him. And at the time, like, I don't even think that I really appreciated and understood. It took a couple of years because I didn't believe it at first, right? You've had so many false promises. He stayed sober for 30 days, 60 days, maybe even 6 months at a time, but it never lasted. So you hoped, but I didn't really start to appreciate it for what it was until about 2 years after. And I felt really empowered because I feel like if you continue to take shit from people, they will keep giving that shit to you. But if you stand up for yourself and you say, this is the line, and if you put your foot down, and he was the hardest person in the world for me to put my foot down to, because I love him so much. So if I could put my foot down to him, by God, I could do it to anybody. And that, like, it gave me a real sense of empowerment.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, after hearing that the first time around, I know you've been through so much. I know, like, the stuff when you were younger, the house burning down, and any kind of like teasing or not feeling or not belonging. That to me is what made you who you are for real. Like, his rock bottom was your come up, because the two of you were able to offer something to each other at that moment. You got your empowerment, you got your validation that you are worth something more than just being his daughter, and you were able to give him the freedom to have a better quality of life than just having a quantity. And that, I think, you guys did for each other.
Well, and I mean, it was very tough for him to find a switch cost, right? Where the act of continuing on with the pattern became more painful than changing. But he had to find that, and I'm glad that we were able to get to that point and still have quite a few really good years together. So.
Yeah. And unfortunately, for Jacqueline, being a daddy's girl, and I told her off camera, I am too, so I kind of totally understand, like, that almost need to allow that to be okay, no matter how bad they mess up, because you love them that much. I understood that. And unfortunately, she did lose her dad to cancer when she was 31 years of age. So it's been really, really recent for her. And like I said, I want to say again, I'm sorry for your loss. But the one thing that she did tell me was, through all of that, she was able to, like she said, she was able to get 12 more years with a sober father. And that is probably the best gift that he could have gave.
Well, and it wasn't, I'll say, like, it was as much too, like my nieces and my nephews, they got to have the papa they deserve.
Yeah.
So it may have been, the change may have been for me, but we all benefited from it so much.
Yeah. Of course, 360 degrees.
Yeah.
So a happier note, I wanted to get the sadness out because it's a hard, hard subject to talk about. But on a happier note, at 27, she met her future husband,
Yeah.
who is a nice guy. I get to meet him too at the Autorama, and they have a cute little family. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So my husband, I actually met him. He was looking for someone to come in, do the ordering, invoicing, like all the grown-up stuff. Because he had and the people that were working there were great with plants, not so great with computers and all that. Yeah. So it was actually kind of good that I did come in when I did, because I was able to uncover a few things that looked a little fishy. And he was leaving the business that he had with his business partner, and the guy who tried to run me out was actually found to be embezzling like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
You saved so many people's lives and like
Here's the thing, is like my husband, like it would have been pinned on him.
Oh.
On him probably, if he wouldn't have gotten out. I started asking questions about transfers that nobody knew. And he was like, oh, she doesn't know how the system works. She doesn't know how to do stuff. And I was like, no, more specific with how you're inputting things so you can see when transfers are.
Yeah, I can see why you wanted to do the whole espionage in the Air Force with all that.
Yeah, right?
You're like a little like detective and stuff, figuring out what's not right and what's not quite.
I didn't know that anybody was embezzling at the time. It was just, I knew something was wrong.
Yeah.
I didn't know how it was wrong, but I knew something was wrong, and I kept telling him there's something wrong. And as soon as that guy, I started saying there was something wrong, and that guy started trying to push me out, he believed that there was something wrong with him too. Yeah. So I'm just glad, he got out, and I think Mark's somewhere in some undisclosed location. And
he's like somewhere where
he disappeared.
Hiding low, or like staying low because he doesn't want this to ever catch up to him.
Yeah.
So you guys got married. He came into the picture with two little girls that are your daughter.
Our family. So they were 2 and 6 whenever we met. And
cute as a button, by the way.
They're adorable. Now they're 10 and 14. So that's hard to believe.
Mm-hmm. I know. Makes you feel old, doesn't
it? They're growing up fast. So I love it. Our little one is super into quarter midget racing. So she has known since she was 3.5 years old that she wanted to be a NASCAR racer, and she is super, super, super goal driven, and will tell anybody that will listen her story. So I don't know where she gets that from.
Oh, I have no idea where she gets that from.
Oh.
And just so you guys know, when I saw her daughters, not that she calls them stepdaughters or anything, she just calls them her daughters. And literally when you look at them, they look like they are truly like her blood, like her little babies, and they got sass and personality like her too. So it's like you really think that these are, so it kind of shows you that a lot of raising children is nurturing and not just like biological things. Like she was able to nurture and give these girls like that foundation and that strong woman role model, and they took a lot after her, and that's really awesome. So
I feel fortunate too. Like I had great examples, right? Because my dad was married before he was with my mom, and then he was married after my mom. So my mom and my stepmom still get along great. My mom and his ex always tried to, get along for the kids and kind of stuff. So I feel like I had great examples. And I told you my dad had a phrase that's steps are for porches, not families.
Yeah, so I love that.
I mean, he just always had his girls. Yeah. So that's why I always call them my girls, But I say it's like, it's easy to do something well whenever you've had great teachers. So,
well, that actually kind of leads us right
great.
into.
We get along well. Like we always try to do what's best for the kids. We actually, we kept under the state mandated during child pickup kind of stuff, but I planned an Easter egg hunt. So she brought her boyfriend's daughters, and all 4 girls got to do the Easter egg hunt before they went over to her house to do lunch and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
We love not only my girls, but we love her, all the kids. So.
Yeah. Well, that, I mean, I told you off camera, I think that it takes a special person to ever raise children that are not their biological, because it's just a special kind of bond that you have to be able to open your heart to something like that. So that just shows, once again, your character. And that's like a great segue kind of to get into the pinup journey, because you said a lot of good things about family and belonging and all that. And that's kind of like how you say that you felt a lot about your pinup girls that you've met in the community. Kind of like to backtrack just a little bit, because she actually had her first pinup contest before she got married and had kids. So let's hear about that.
Okay, so I initially, whenever we went to Autorama, it was before Nikki was actually in charge of the contest. So the first time that we saw it, there was a girl that was not really dressed the way that we usually dress, with the full swing dresses or with a super glam outfit. It was almost a bathing suit.
Yeah.
So my girls were like, that.
Which they don't allow anymore. You have to be covered up.
Yes, they do not. You have to be fully covered. So they were like, that's pinup? That's what you like? I was like, no, that's not pinup. So the next year we went, I decided that I would dress in traditional pinup so that they could, see the whole shebang. So when we're walking around, everybody's like, are you doing the contest? Are you doing the contest? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about or how to get in it. So I went downstairs and just kind of talked to Nikki a little bit so that I could get in it for the next year. And I found the most.
Hi, welcome back. Okay, so of course everybody knows when you're doing stuff through the internet that things can happen. So we kind of had a little bit of a technical glitch, but we're back with Jacqueline, and she's going to continue telling us about after she got in contact with Nikki, what happened.
So I talked to Nicole a little bit about how to get in for the next year, the online application process. So I put in my application, I was approved, and then I was tasked with finding the perfect dress, right? I went to Lost and Found in Royal Oak, and they were super helpful. And I found this perfect, gorgeous green. It was like Gone with the Wind, whenever Scarlett O'Hara pulls the green drapes down off, she makes that fabulous dress. Same color green.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, okay, this is a good dress. I feel like I've got the dress. I can do this. And I pumped myself up. And I pumped myself up so much that I was full of so much adrenaline that I definitely threw up that day. And it was like one of those, like, everything that possibly could go wrong that was like trying to keep me away from it. Like, I just kept barreling through. It started with, like, I went to put on my pantyhose and I got to run her in the pantyhose. So it was like, I'm just going to stop on the way down. So we stopped at this like fancy church lady store with the big fabulous hats in Detroit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like derby hats all day. I could have probably spent half the day in there. Anyways, so I get these pantyhose, and they are like straight up old lady. They're not like the stretchy hose. They're like the feeling hose that are way too shiny. So I get them, and I'm like walking, and they keep falling, and I'm like this the whole, and I'm like struggling, trying to keep my bustier pulled down. And finally I was like almost in tears. And I was like, would people think ill of me? And the girl, Tara, right next to me, she was like, you need help getting it off, girl, I got you.
Right.
Her name's Tara Jackson. So sweet. Still stayed in contact with her. She's actually moved to California since. But she was like, just be comfortable. If you feel comfortable, you're going to do better. And sometimes you got to strip down to feel cozy. So I stripped off my pantyhose. I stripped off my bustier bra thing. So by the time I went on stage, I was in like my drawers and my dress and my crinoline, and I had my gloves and a purse and my little shoes. And sometimes less is more, right? And it's just about feeling comfortable. And I was so uncomfortable until I got the microphone. And I was like, oh my God, this is my world. I can do this. It just changes. As soon as it's like, you almost like vibrate at such a high intensity that you still, and it becomes calm, and like you get extra time to think about everything in the world. I went to that hyper focused state and just every second of it. Anyway, I still remember my question. If you could have any car, what would it be? And everybody had, you know, they had heard 67 Mustang. They had heard the same answers over and over to this question. So I realized that if I was going to win or even have a shot at this, I had to do something different, right? So I was like, well, I think I'll take my cat, like Johnny Cash, one piece at a time. And everybody starts cracking up laughing, you know. Kale was like looking at me. I was like, I'm just kidding, Kale. I'll take a 32 Ford Roadster, tap the back, link in the front, patina it out, call it a day. And that was it. So
and the rest is just like history.
And as they say, the rest is history. But I met so many awesome, amazing girls that day that like, money was whatever. The crown was cool. The sash is cool. But the friendships that I made from that were like, I still go back to Autorama every year, whether it's in the form of helping crown, whether it's like this year judging. I will always be there every year, even if it's just to go and clap down in the audience or to step back right before the show to like give everybody a couple words of encouragement. Because the reality is we are all doing this for the same reason. We want to feel beautiful. We want to get on that stage. We want to feel empowered, and we want to help empower our sisters, right?
Yep.
So I think about all the people that I've met, and like Valerie is so great. I mean, her glitter biscuit.
Oh my God, she's like my sister. Like, she's awesome.
She is amazing. And I mean, Alfie Jean, I met her one of the first, you know, she was one of the people that I met in that first contest that I still always look for. And last year I went back. I knew that, you know, it was made very clear to me, you can't win twice. I was like, I just want to get up on the stage, because after having a spinal fusion, I kind of felt like I just needed to feel pretty. I needed to feel like myself, and I hadn't felt like myself since, you know, going under the knife. That was like, talk about the most humbling experience ever. Like, whenever you can't do anything for yourself, whenever you feel helpless, like, it is so hard to bounce back from that. But again, even knowing I couldn't win, it was just about being back down there with my sisters and feeling the support and feeling uplifted. And I was exactly what kick my rear back into gear and find the motivation again to just get out there.
Yep. Oh, well, and this is why for the girls that have never experienced this kind of sisterhood, that bond, if you've never had it.
A lot of us, we were the black sheep. We were the outcasts. We didn't dress like everybody. We didn't want to be like everybody else. And we were okay with that, you know? So I feel like this is that place where you can just feel, you know, I hate to say, you can feel comfortable being uncomfortable, right? Because all these other people have known what it was like to be outcast, to be the black sheep, to be, you know, the outsider or whatever. So I feel like we just we embrace everybody for that reason. It is not a circle, it is a U, because it's open for anybody who wants to join us. I
feel like this is the only group I've ever been part of where they think you're perfect because of your imperfection.
Yes.
And that is what makes them love you.
Yes. I 100% agree.
Yeah. Well, this is a great time for now you just to kind of give us you kind of already given us pearls of wisdom. But
actually, my pearl of wisdom, and that comes especially to girls starting out in contests, and that's never compare your insides to other people's outsides. And the reason I say that is because people only let us see what they want us to see, first of all, and second of all, you have no idea how they struggled to get there. So what you think may just be a natural God-given talent, no, that is not a natural God-given talent. That was hours and days and weeks and months spent in front of a mirror, talking in front of a mirror. It was doing just what you're doing right now. And getting comfortable on camera. And the more you work at something, the better you're going to be at it no matter what. But again, just don't get caught up in that trap, especially with social media. Because, you know, in social media, everybody has a perfect life, right? But so
I'll tell you one thing, not to say that you're perfect, but listening to you, this is why I really like doing these segments now, because a lot of women, from the outside, you look like you're just so put together, Jacqueline, and you really are. But I would have never known that you came from the path that you described to me just now. I would have never known that you had to go through some of the struggles that you went through. Oh no, we lost the footage again. Hi, welcome back. All right, we are having some major difficulties. We're having some really funky weather today, and the wind is so high that it's messing up internet connections. So I'm going to give it back to Jacqueline. She's going to give us her pearls of wisdom, and this video is going to be very interesting when I chop and screw this and put it back together. But go ahead, Jacqueline. Please give us your pearl.
Okay, so my pearl of wisdom is never compare your insides to other people's outsides. Especially with girls doing contests, it's super, super, super important. First of all, people only let you see what they want you to see, right? So that's part of it. The other thing is you have no idea how hard that person worked, the practice that went in to getting where they are. So what you might think is a natural God-given talent is actually from, you know, hours and days and weeks and months spent training in front of a mirror, or like you're doing right now, just having these conversations where you get comfortable, you know, being uncomfortable. I think that it's really easy for us to forget in the days of social media that all of these perfect lives that people put out there for us, they're not really as perfect as they appear. So the words of wisdom, never compare your insides to other people's outsides.
I love it. And on top of that, just to kind of like tie this up in a nice little bow, as I was telling Jacqueline before, if I would have just been based off of just meeting her for the first time and not knowing anything else about her, I would have thought that she really truly had this true cookie cutter life and never came from an obstacle or a struggle. And now today, this is why I love doing this. I have discovered that she too has had turbulence, and she's had obstacles, and she's had things that she had to overcome to get to where she is now. And that's what makes her so much more beautiful than just the average person, because beauty comes from pain. And I feel like a lot of these girls are beautiful because of the painful past or the pain that they might have experienced. So thank you once again, Jacqueline, for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story with everybody. I'm sure if anybody had any questions for Jacqueline or wants to talk to her, she'd be willing to reach out and talk to anyone, because that's just the kind of person she is. And
if you're looking to get into real estate in Michigan, I can help you out.
I know she's already trying to get me into real estate.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. So
right out of for show.
You might see me on a billboard one day. Real estate. But I just want to say thank you again. If you guys haven't already, hit like at the bottom of your screen and subscribe. Jacqueline, don't go anywhere. I'm going to talk to you a little bit after I hang up. But for everybody else, thank you. And you guys have a blessed day. Ladies, remember, keep your crown straight and your smile on your face and keep on trucking, okay? I love you. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.